President Mori to open the press release. Today, I've been talking with President Bach. So from last week, actually from last week's Friday and Saturday and Sunday, I've been talking with members from IOC to hold a series of the meetings about Tokyo 2020. How do we open up the Tokyo 2020 and how do we uphold a splendid Olympic? How do we guarantee a safe Tokyo for everybody who is coming here? The members of IOC has provided me a lot of reference. I think I'm going to deliver the message from IOC to all of you and also the discussing result from all of you. And what kind of measures will Japan take to tackle the problems posed by COVID-19 in the middle of the Olympics? I also encourage all of you to work hard to make all-out efforts in this special scenario. Actually, I really want to thank all of you. President Bach, together with me, we've been working really hard to guarantee a smooth journey of Tokyo 2020. I believe it also needs the joint confirmation of all of you, no matter where you are from, no matter who are you. I think that we all have our own conclusion and judgment about Tokyo 20. So I also believe that every single one of you want to see the Tokyo 2020 to be opened as early as possible and as safely as possible. I also believe that every single national team want to come to Tokyo as early as possible. And from Tokyo side, we want to create a brand new Olympic for all of you. I'm really deeply moved by all of you's emotions from my perspective in the middle of such a difficult time with so many different opinions. As the coordinators of Tokyo 2020, I really want to thank all of you's support. I also believe that I can feel all kinds of emotions and feelings towards Tokyo 2020. Thank you very much for your support, and I'm also very sorry for the inconvenience that we have created. In the midst of all of these emotions and against this background, from now on, so here is a little bit my personal opinion. I've been also talking with Prime Minister Suga about the process of Tokyo 2020. I reported to him about the result of this conference. So from next week, I'm going to report to Prime Minister Suga directly. That is all I want to tell you from my own perspective. I've been also working together with President Bach about how do we progress the Tokyo 2020 Olympic and what kind of measures, what kind of things are we going to do facing this new scenario. I believe I'm going to give you more detailed report in the future. But currently, the most urgent priority is to do it effectively. Since we have a lot of actions to be done, February, the most important thing that we should do is to work together with Prime Minister Suga and also Minister, President, and all kinds of representatives to hold a lot of meetings to prepare for the Tokyo 2020. And that is what I want to report to you here. And in March, we are going to have a series of meetings with the preparational committee of Tokyo 2020. And we are also going to adjust our schedules in March. I've been also reporting to the Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Aso. He's also going to talk to me personally about the progress of the Tokyo 2020. That is all I want to update it to you. Since in Japan we are entered into a national emergency situation, so from the government perspective, we see a lot of press conference. Since the second half of February, we believe that we have really created some of the burdens for the medical workers. Since we are injecting the vaccines to all the medical workers, frontline medical workers, and also I believe that we are going to meet up the expectations of all the athletes. That is our updates about the vaccine injection for all the athletes. So in the conversations with President Bach, I think all of you still have the nostalgic feelings who were what happened 1 year ago. All of you really want to see the Tokyo 2020 open up as early as possible, as safely as possible. I'm really sorry about the postponement of Tokyo 2020. Actually, we do have a telephone conference with President Bach. We are going to make an unending effort to activate all kinds of the athletes to participate in the Tokyo 2020. Actually, in the joint conference with President Bach, we have a lot of detailed confirmed together with President Bach. So here I'm having a question. So do you have any conclusions about what should we do to introduce all the foreign athletes to Japan? So I have heard important news that an American representative noticing that you could uphold the Tokyo 2020 in an American city. So President Mori, what do you make of this comment from America? Actually, it is only an opinion that is also being said by President Bach. I believe that before the opening of 2020, there must be some of the rumors and misunderstandings. But once we have confirmed and successfully opened the Tokyo 2020, I believe that all the rumors and all the misunderstandings and all kinds of opinions will disappear automatically. So my conclusion is that as long as we could open up the Tokyo 2020, all the misunderstandings will disappear. I've been also talked to President Bach. And President Bach had confirmed me there's definitely going to be some of the misunderstanding since Tokyo 2020 has been postponed for a long time. I believe in America, their conditions of COVID-19 is still not very optimistic. I think I will consider it like a push from the friends from the United States. From my side, I'm going to work harder to settle this matter by myself. I'm really sorry for the comments. Thank you. So this is a question from NHK. So I have two questions about the visiting tourist for Tokyo 2020. So considering the situation of the COVID-19 and also the vaccine development, so President Mori, what do you make of this? How do we welcome and host all the visitors to Japan in Tokyo 2020? I have done a lot of simulation models when we are about to receive all the foreign tourists. But I believe all the reception models should be testified by the reality. So because we have not seen all the visitors coming to Japan yet, I'm sorry I cannot tell you what are we doing, but all I can tell you is that we have prepared all kinds of the emergency dealing models to help us to deal with the visitors and also the tourists. I have another question. It's about the vaccine development and also the vaccine injection. So I believe the vaccine is also very important influencing factors that I cannot jump on conclusion without stimulating the vaccine. From radio of France, I heard the news from a French member of IOC committee. That is to say, the IOC committee hopes all the athletes could inject COVID-19 vaccine. So, but of course, this is only a side opinion from the IOC. But my question is that if all the foreign athletes receive a COVID-19 vaccine, how do we do with the Japanese athletes? Second, in the middle of COVID-19, a lot of foreign athletes cannot come to Japan. And do you think all the Olympic and Paralympic related staff could also come to Japan? So first, let me give a feedback to the comment of the French members. From my understanding, I think it's actually a correct comment from IOC. IOC hopes all the athletes could be patient about vaccine. IOC is also quite patient with the vaccine injections and also the vaccine preparation. That is my conclusion. But of course, for the different countries, I believe that they have different preventative measures. But of course, we are still facing a lot of questions about the vaccine injection. I believe it needs to be discussed about the vaccine injection. We should think about the future scenario before we jump to the conclusion. And Mr. Hasega, please. I'm from Tokyo Daily. So my question is to President Mori. You have talked to President Bach from the IOC committee, and also you have submitted the planning of the different areas of Japan. So what have you confirmed in your conference with President Bach? Can you tell us what is the content for the meeting between you and President Bach? Actually, we have been talking about what should we process with the work of Tokyo 2020. So because I heard the news that President Bach mentioned that he hopes all the Japanese people could inject the vaccines. But actually, our opinion from the Japanese side, we only hope that all the Olympic-related staffs, including the athletes, their coaches, and also the volunteers, could be injected with the vaccines. So what is the final conclusions of the vaccine injection? So what kind of work should we do about vaccine injection? I believe it's quite different from different countries. I think all of you should understand what I'm saying right now. But for the IOC staff and also the different countries' athletes, together with their Olympic-related staff, I think they have all heard about the news. But actually, from the bottom of our heart, we hope that from the Japanese side, the most important and the most priority should be the athletes and Olympic-related staffs. But for the other perspectives, we should consider about the economics and also the total investment. So I'm Harada from Tokyo News. My question is directed to President Mori. For Tokyo 2020, what kind of measures could we make this Olympic a safety Olympic for everybody? I believe there are definitely some of the standards. For example, if there is an emergency confirmed COVID-19 cases, how do we provide the best medical equipment? What do you think about this? So currently, we don't have any standard about the emergency treatment. So far, we have not come to a conclusion yet. I believe that we have a lot of methods and a lot of measures to be conducted. You have been talking about the safety and reassuring Olympic, but I believe that it should be dealt with the different circumstances. Thank you very much. Any other questions? So my question is directed to both of you. For the athletes, it is a really difficult year. So what kind of measures should we encourage the athletes to try their best in the competition? And I cannot think of one of the measures. I think we used to think sports is a very heartwarming, blood-pumping event, but actually, when we consider that it's not news anymore, So we used to think sports is some of the events happening in the competitive ground. All the athletes is competing for one golden award with all the poses, all the impulses. But actually, Olympic game is nothing like that. It needs detailed preparation. It needs patience. It needs all of us to work really hard. And it also needs the volunteers' hard work. We have been talking about the timing. I think until we reached April, until we get a better understanding of what is happening in the world and what is happening in Japan, we can get a conclusion. So, Mr. Muto, yesterday, I believe that we have done a simulation event about the vaccine injection. There are some of the news about that. So are we going to inject the athletes with the vaccine and, for example, to put all the injected athletes into a certain areas and let them to inhospitalized or let them to live in one certain hospital and use one vehicle to transfer all of them? Do we have this kind of a drill to mimic what is going to happen in the Tokyo 2020? For this matter, actually, we are going to have a very detailed confirmation. And we are also going to conduct a series of the drills to make sure that all the different scenarios is going to be considered. But currently, it needs a very detailed operation for the different scenarios. We need a lot of training. For example, for such a huge event, let me give you one example. So what kind of safety measures should we uptake? Under this scenario, in the different, I believe that we are going to have a scenario-based drill. Therefore, when it comes to the real Tokyo 20 and Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic, we are going to have the pre-existing awareness or pre-existing know-how to deal with the emergency. And we should also consider what kind of scenarios will the athletes experience, to put ourselves in the shoes of the athletes. For example, before they come to Japan, what kind of preparational measures will they uptake? What kind of experience will they have in Japan? And after they came back to their own country, what kind of measures or the COVID-19 treatment measures or COVID-19 measures will they uptake in the coming 1 year? I think I'll have a lot of details to report to you, but I'm thinking that we are also going to publish a series of the menus. I believe that we are going to, in the operational menus, it is going to include all kinds of the different scenarios. I believe the training is very important for the different scenario. I believe that with a fully preparation, we are going to really welcome and prepare for the Tokyo 2020 and the Paralympic. Last question. For the vaccine, I believe it is going to be a cure for all the Japanese people, and even it is going to be a cure for all the people on the earth. What kind of measures will we taken about the vaccine injection? In the year 2020, we have faced a lot of difficulties. We have also discussed about the difficulties that we are facing in the field of Tokyo 2020 and Olympic and Paralympic. We are still discussing about the applications of the vaccines. That's the reason why we hope that we could inject the vaccine to as many people as possible. From my perspective, our dealment and our measures is that even if there is no effective vaccine, we could still open up the Tokyo 20 Olympic successfully. That is my consideration. Thank you very much for your participation. That concludes today's press conference.